Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Vancouver Rain Draft the Glory franchise mode here in MLB The Show 23. So in last episode, we had the year 10 offseason, and I think the team is finally starting to come together quite a bit. We got a pretty good looking roster. In terms of pitching, we do have a lot of guys starting to make the jump. Some of them will be getting used as relievers this year, some will be used as starters, but you can see we have an abundance of pitcher prospects, like almost too much of them, but at the same time it's good to have too much than too little. So very excited to see what a lot of these guys do, especially the top prospects we have in the system as well, because we do have like Osuna, for example, who is in AAA, and then we also have Elmont, who is in AA to start the season. So it's going to be exciting to see what those guys can do this year. Relief pitcher wise, we're still a little bit barren, but like that's why I said we're going to be using some of the starters as relievers. Closing pitching wise, we have three really good closers. Some of them will be getting used as setup guys, and then Dennis Lake obviously is going to be the main closer as he normally is. And then we go to our catcher, who is going to be Giancarlo Sixto this year. He was our left fielder for quite some time, but we had to move him over to catcher because of the departure of Mr. Cuero, who decided to depart from our team in the offseason. So Sixto will be catcher for this season and probably for seasons beyond this as well, because I don't know if a lot of these other guys are going to really pan out. Brad Thornton still might get a chance at the MLB level at some stage because that power hitting is pretty good. So maybe at one point he'll be our catcher, but he's not that great of one, but it still would be great to have a power hitting guy like that in our lineup at some point. We also have obviously Cardenas, we have Trevino, we have Carrillo, who I took in the Rule 5 draft. This guy I brought in just because he's got a little bit more pop to his bat, and he's much better than Fletcher Hoffman, who has been optioned back down to AAA. And then third base-wise, we obviously have Pip and Schneider. We also still have Pinheiro, and Ray McMahon's going to get a chance this year because Buster Cross has dropped off a little bit lower than McMahon, so I decided, you know what, it might be the time to give Ray an opportunity. He's got great contact hitting. He's also got that speed, that stealing that helps out so much, so he's going to be in the lineup. He also could play second or third base, which is nice. And then we also have our outfielders. We have Gary Steiner on the left side, so he's going to be playing exactly where Sixto was. And then we have Ollie Gelman still and Bill Pineda. And on the right side, we have Bill O'Donnell. So there is our team for the season, and I am very, very excited to see what this team could do, because as you can see, our updated rankings, we are ranked the 7th best team in the MLB according to this game right now, with the 2nd best contact, the 9th best power, the 8th best pitching, 24th in defense, and 2nd in speed. Now that could change, I guess, once we get to the regular season, but still this team is definitely on the cusp of probably making the playoffs. I don't know about this season, but very close to it, I'd say. Because last year, if we go to, I believe it's our GM goals, yeah, you could see over the last 5 seasons, we've improved every single season. Went from 48 wins back in 2028 to 55 in 2029 and 30. And in 2031, we got to 66 wins. And last season, we were at 74 and 88. So if we could get even 80 wins this season, that would be great. So if we could finish pretty close to 500, that'd be great. But if we finish over 500, obviously that would be even better. So there is that. And before we get into starting up this season sim and seeing how good we do, and also doing some big important scouting as usual, I do have a couple of comments to go over. So the first two are from Nick Buckerburns OC. The first one says Hyde may be more of a reliever, and that's what we're going to be doing with Mr. Bobby Hyde. He is a very good strikeout thrower. As you can see, the Ks per 9 up there at 89, so he's going to be used as more of a reliever this year. Well, there's going to be a couple other guys that are going to be used as starters and some other guys used as relievers. And then lastly, Nick says, time to extend Trevino. And I was asking him about how much he would give to Trevino, and he said that he would try for 15 to 18 million front-loaded on an 8 to 11 year deal. So let's go to Trevino here. I was already kind of scouting this out a little bit ahead of time, and I think I have a pretty good deal in place. If we go front-loaded for 8 years, because I don't want to go really 11 years, because then it gets a little bit weary, just because of money and stuff like that. But we should be able to get him, I believe, for, I think it was like 15.6 annual average salary. Yeah, 15.6 million a year is not bad, I would say, for the type of like contact hitting he brings to the lineup and all that type of thing. Obviously, we're extending a lot of guys long term, so we're going to be kind of low on money for a little bit. But at the same time, a lot of these guys are going to start making less and less each year, like Garth Howe, for example, like Sixto, like Lake. So I think eventually we'll have a lot more cap space and stuff like that. But I think it would be good to extend Trevino here for 124.5. I might be able to. I might have to give him a little bit more than that, but I am going to try for 124.5 right now and see if he'll accept that. So Anton Trevino, will you accept this deal? And he likes he would rather a shorter contract, so I guess I got to give him a little bit more money in order to maybe sway his interest a little bit. So let's do 126 by 8. And he still does not want to be locked into a contract for 8 years. Well, Trevino, sorry to tell you, man, you have to be locked up for that long. There's no way you're going shorter than that, because or else we're going to end up maybe losing you too soon. Let's try and get him for 134.5, so a little bit more than I was actually expecting to give him, but still, I think that's a good deal. Let's see if he'll accept that. And he has accepted, so there you go. Now he's on board for a long-term contract, so there is a good one in the books, as we could see. He's making $22 million starting next season, which is not outrageously high. And then by the end of his contract, he'll be only making $10 million bucks. So I like that contract quite a bit, considering he's a really young player. We got to obviously trust in his development, and also I think he's already going to have a really good year this year, because last year he batted at 291, year before that at 284. So I think his contact hitting is starting to get there, and eventually those RBI numbers are going to climb quite a bit. So I do like that contract. I think it was needed. And now we have quite a few guys on long-term contracts. The other guys I'm not going to give contracts to yet, but Pip is going to be probably expensive, so we should probably look for some more third basemen in case we end up losing Pip, because obviously I don't trust Schneider fully. Schneider is going to be relatively expensive this offseason, same with like Montero probably, even though they're not so good. So we do got a lot of contracts to do with next offseason, but we aren't focused on the offseason yet, because obviously we have to still get into the season sim. And the last and final comment is from Michael Dose. He says, only one left-handed pitcher is disturbing. And I agree. We do not have a lot of left-handed pitchers in our system. I didn't want to go to that page. We do not have a lot of left-handed pitchers in our system. That's one thing I do think we need to improve on. You can see with all our relievers, they're all right-handers. And then if you go to, obviously, our pitching rotation, the only left-hander is Sammy Gomez. But luckily for us, we do actually have, I think, at least one starting pitcher in the system that's a left-hander, that being Osuna. So we will have another left-hander in a rotation, hopefully within the next 1 to 2 seasons. But we do need maybe some more left-handers as well to get a little bit more variety into this pitching rotation. So there's that. And yeah, here's our rotation probably for the season. So Hal McAllister, Gomez Silva, and Sparbory will also be a starter. And then the rest of these guys will be used as relievers. And then there's our setup guys, and obviously Dennis Lake as our closer. So let's advance to the start of the season, and then we'll get started with this year 11 season, and see how good this team does. Is our ranking still that good? No, it's not. Okay, we dropped down to 17th in ranks, so from 7th to 17th because of spring training. Still 11th in contact, which is great. 10th in power, which is also great. So we should be a much better home run team this year. We're also 9th in pitching, which is really good. 27th in defense is not great, but 2nd in speed. I do like that we're almost top 10 in everything except for defense. So I think we might end up having a good chance of winning a decent amount of games this year, as long as our defense holds up. So there is that, and I think we are ready to get scouting for another season. Let me make sure our pitching rotations are set up properly in double and triple A, and of course it went ahead and adjusted my pitching rotation for some weird reason, so we're gonna have to refix this around a little bit. I don't know why it auto adjusts it, even though I basically adjusted it myself. It's kind of weird. Did they send anybody else down? They might have sent somebody down. Yeah, they did send down Sparbory, I think. I do not like that it just auto-adjusted my roster. Why did you send down Sparbory? I didn't tell you you could send down Sparbory. Goddamn, man. And they also sent down Montero. Well, it's okay to send down Montero, I think. Yeah, I think we'll just call up Sparbory. We need to send down a player if we wanted to call him up. I should have maybe looked into this ahead of time. MLB roster, worst player. Telshaw is still on waivers. I do not want Brad Thornton up here yet. He needs to be moved down to triple. And there you go. I don't know why it automatically did that. Let's make sure everything's set up properly, though. So, Morris has good stamina. That's all good. Yeah, that's basically what I'll have our pitching rotation looking like. Then let's take a look at double and triple A and make sure we got the right guys in there. So, Johnny Almont needs to be a starter in this double A universe. Rangel was more used as a reliever last year, so he's going to be used as a reliever this year. I believe Cologne, yeah, he's a starter as well. And then who wants to be the fifth guy? Probably Blake Smith. Yeah, probably Blake Smith here. There you go. And the rotation for AAA, we obviously want Osuna being one of the aces there. Tim Soto's getting a chance in triple this year. I will take him and put him in. Murillo, I want him to be kind of more of a starter. So I'm going to move him into the lineup as well. And I think the rest of that's good. We don't have a lot of pitchers in the system. Huh. But there you go. Pitching rotations are set. Let's just make sure that our lineup is set up in the MLB Rise. That looks good. Let me just take a look at this. I'll let it auto set these lineups. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay, so there we go. We have our team set up for the start of the season. We're now the 16th ranked team when we made that change, which is kind of funny. Let's go through, I guess, this one day, and then we should be able to start scouting out some players. And hopefully there's a good player in this draft, because obviously we could use good prospects all the time. So let's go through this day. In the first game of the season, we have more than enough pitchers. Damn it, maybe I shouldn't have called up Sparbory. Maybe I shouldn't have called him up. Who would I send down if I was to send down a pitcher? I have to send down one. Definitely not any of these three. How was Rubel last year? He was solid, wasn't he? Yeah, he was. I don't want to send down Goss yet. He has all three of his minor league options though, which is good, but he's not gonna get much development if he's down there. This might be a little bit of a long episode just because of the start of this crap. Who do I want to send down for one more year? Let's, I guess I should have maybe kept Bobby High or Sparbory down there. I do like Sparbory though, but he's used as a starter more. Who is getting used as a reliever? Because we don't need probably some of them as relievers. Pulls, Morris, Birch. Let's send down Darren Pulls. Yeah, let's send down Darren Pulls. I don't really know who else to send down, so let's just send him down to triple. Just so we can at least have the stuff set up. Let's go through our first game of the season, and we win our first game of the year 11-5. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come as Garth Howe gets a win in the first game of the season. Let's go. That's a good way to start off the year. And let's auto fix AAA lineup. There you go. And actually, let's just make sure that the pitching rotation is still set up properly for triple. Osuna, Montero, Olinger, Soto, Murillo. I would probably rather Pulls get in as a starter over maybe Olinger. Yeah, probably. Let's do that. There we go. Okay, so we should be almost ready to start scouting out after this game. Second game of the season, we lose 11-10. Damn, we were that close to winning 2 of our first games. That would have been nice. Oh well. Oh well, but now we could start scouting, which is great. So let's start assigning our scouts. So we have obviously Ruzan, Cole, and Garcia. So John Coe was our pitcher scout, so he's going to be sent to scout out his specific starting pitchers for the West for 4 weeks, and then we change every region every 4 weeks, so we'll do that. And these other two are going to scout out individual players. So let's take a look and see what we're working with in terms of prospects. So Eric Esquivel might be really decent. We do need also right fielder technically because we don't really have, I'd say, a distinguished right fielder. So I am going to start scouting out Eric Esquivel, I think it's Esquivel. And we will also, we don't really need more closers, but we actually do need maybe some for the system. But still, I'm not going to scout out him. I'm going to look for just like actual lineup players. Like this Lionel Fishman guy, for example, might be really good. Let's get him scouted out. So let's go week and see what happens. And hopefully we win a decent amount of games, which we do. 6-2 to start the season. Fantastic. And Pablo Silva apparently is doing terrible, but oh well. We are 6-2 to start the season. We had back-to-back shutouts against Cleveland. That is great. Wow, and it was a first start, I think, for Sparbory in his MLB career, or maybe it was his second. But that's a great game, and then Garth Howe had a great game after that. Love to see that. Love to see that. So these guys are almost fully scouted. They're not looking as good as I was expecting, but that's okay. We do still gotta go another couple more weeks before we change out the generic pitcher scout. The next week afterwards, we go kind of 500 almost. 9-6 still is pretty damn good. We are tied still for first in our division. Not that it matters this early into the year. Yeah, these guys aren't looking too good. Esquivel's kind of mid. Yeah, he's not really that great. Lionel Fishman's better than him, I would say, if we were to choose between the two of them. But there's still a lot of other prospects we could scout out here. A lot of overagers, which I'm not really sold on, but this guy's 23. Let's get him scouted out as well, because why not? And we will also look here. Center fielder that might be decent, Connor Horgan. That guy might be really good. He might have 99 potential. Probably not, though. Knowing this game, because we have had some terrible draft classes. Obviously, last year was the best draft class, but we just missed out on a franchise third baseman. Let's go auto on Montenegro, who's out for 6 months. Jeez, that's a major injury. 11-10, so we are kind of starting to fall off a little bit, but we're still above 500, which is nice. And we got one more week, I believe, before we got to change out the generic scout. I think. Maybe not, actually. Maybe it is this week. Yeah, I think it might be every 3 weeks instead we were doing. Can't remember exactly. These guys aren't fully scouted yet, so let's change over the generic scout. I don't remember if it was every 3 weeks or 4 weeks I was doing this, but because it's been a while since I've recorded a scouting episode for a season, I guess. Let's go another week. We're still winning a decent amount of games as Sparbory's been injured. Let's go auto on that, but we will put him back in soon. And Ray McMahon's also been injured in the MLB. Let's go auto on that. God damn. Don't like these injuries. Let's go place on bench for a second, and let's put Sparbory back into the rotation, which he already is. Perfect. Good. Exactly what I wanted. Ray McMahon's not back yet from injury. Wow, okay. I don't want to really look at player stats just yet. Let's go one more day so we can actually scout out a little bit more. Nice win there. 15-13. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. We might honestly, if we keep up on this pace, find ourselves in a wildcard spot or just outside of one. So I am impressed with the team's performance up to this point. 2 more weeks left still for this scout. These guys are looking solid. I would say Horgan's looking the best out of the bunch so far. But Johnny Randolph's going to have a high overall and a decent potential, looks like. So he might be a good steal. It depends, I guess. Actually, we're drafting 4th overall, so probably not where we want to be picking him. We'll see what else there is out there. There's a catcher. We do need a catcher for the first round. That would be great if this guy's a really good player. Because I do need a catcher, because then I can move Sixto back to the left field potentially. So hopefully Rodrigo Becerra is the real deal, because that would be fantastic. Because we haven't really seen a lot of first round catchers in his franchise mode. And we'll also get Kevin Weinstein scouted out. For some reason, I think in one of my old franchise modes, I did a Detroit Tigers series way back. I feel like there was a guy named Kevin Weinstein in that series, which is really weird, but I would remember that. Okay, one more week for the generic scout. So there's another win. We are still staying around 500. Let's go place on bench for Ray, because that's where he was anyways. 18 and 16. We are still tied for top in our division. I'm liking that. I'm liking that. Obviously, still very early into the season, and our division also very tight. But still, I am liking that we are winning a decent amount of games this year. So Becerra's still looking really good, which is nice. I do like that quite a bit. Weinstein's also looking solid. Let's change over this scout. I believe it must have been every 4 weeks, but I'm still going to do every 3 weeks. Afterwards, then we can scout out individual pitchers with that guy instead. So let's do another 3 weeks with him on doing that. Wow, this team is doing great. I'm really impressed with this team. There might be still a lot of problems with this team, who knows, under the surface, but we're 23 and 18. And we're now 1 game up fully on the Mariners for the league lead in our division. Love to see it. Love to see it. So Becerra's still looking good. Weinstein's pretty solid. He might be a really solid third baseman, and we could always use more third basemen. And yeah, he's more of a defensive third baseman, maybe similar to Schneider, but there's that. And yeah, Becerra hasn't been fully scouted out yet, but he might be honestly a solid pick for us because we do need a catcher. Let's go another week. See what happens that week. And not that great. 2 and 4, but 25 and 22 is still league leading our division. That sounds weird saying that. And yeah, Becerra's solid. I don't know if I would take him as high as I am. I might, if he was to fall to the second round, that would be good. But I honestly, this guy might be the best catcher prospect we've seen in a while, even though he's not super great, it looks like on paper. Oh, I meant to change out Weinstein, didn't I? I think so. Oh well, got a little bit more info on him. Bob Klein, let's get you scouted out. And who else do we got that we have not scouted out yet? Maybe Pablo Castaneda? Yeah, maybe Pablo Castaneda. And 1 more week yet for that guy again. Yeah, I'm liking the way our team's playing so far. Obviously, there has been a lot of losses still this year, but look at that. There's a much better week. We won 5 of 7. And we are 30 and 24. We're a half a game up on the Angels, but then after that, there is a little bit of a gap between us and the Astros, so that is impressive. Impressive indeed. We'll definitely take a look at player stats in this episode too, because I am curious on who is doing good and who isn't. This might be the year we end up making the playoffs if we continue on this trajectory, which will be great. So 3 more weeks with this setup. Bill Pineda's been injured. Let's go auto on that. And Bobby Hyde has been injured with a fractured hand. Fuck off, man. With 1 to 2 months. That's a bad injury. That's a bad injury. That's definitely going to hurt us because he's a relief pitcher. God damn it. Why did we get slapped with injuries at the worst time possible? Because Pineda's out for 1 to 6 days, but Montenegro, who's in the system, this guy's a top prospect too, I would say. He had a great year last year, and he was off to a start this year. But, Bobby Hyde out for 1 to 2 months with a fractured hand. Jeez, how was he doing this year? Really well. Really, really well as a reliever. Well, that really sucks. He's up to an 80 overall as well. Hopefully he comes back before the end of the season. I guess he would, but still, that really sucks. God damn. Bill Pineda is back. Let's go place on bench for a second, and let's stop the sim so I can put him back where he was if he is on the bench. Which he is on the bench, so we will flip him and O'Donnell, because I obviously like Pineda much better. Let's see, where is he? Oh, there he is. And we also go here. We'll just put Pineda in all those spots. No offense to Bill O'Donnell, but we'll get Pineda in those spots. There we go. Let's go to the end of this week still. We lose both those games. 32 and 28. Still up on the Mariners, the Rangers, and the Astros, but we are a game back now of the Angels. Not that it matters at this stage. Bob Klein is solid. He is pretty solid. Let's change him out and see if there's anybody else that we could get out here. That's decent looking. Shortstop. We do need maybe more shortstops. Jose Montañez. I shouldn't probably just scout first round players. I should probably look for late round players. So that's what I'll do with the other scout once. Actually, yeah, let's go one more week with Castaneda. Get him fully scouted. But I do need to look at some later round talent so we can maybe find some steals for the second round. There's a good week. 4 wins and 2 losses. 36-30. We are now up on the Angels for league lead in our division. And Castaneda's, he's not fantastic, but he's okay. Let's see if we can find a random steal back here for a potential second round pick. Not closing. Yeah, not pitcher related. It has to be like an infielder or outfielder. That's what I'm looking for back here. Most of the times it's always pitchers, but we do want to look for those maybe hidden gems of players. That guy's going to have maybe a high potential, but who knows how good he actually is. A lot of closers always late in the draft, it seems like. I want to find an infielder, though, if possible, or an outfielder, if there is one with a good potential, which there might be. Let's see. Scrolling through this list. Damn, this list is big. There's a starting pitcher. We don't want to scout out him. There's one. There is one that might be a steal. Sanchez. We'll get him scouted out. See if he is actually that good of a player. I hope he is, because that would be a good steal for the second round. And Bobby Hyde's eligible to be reinstated. Let's go auto on that. And Sparbori has been injured for the second time already this year. Let's go auto on that, but it's not long term. Let's go place on bench and stop the sim for a sec so I can put him back into the pitching rotation, which he already is. That's good. And wow, yeah, this team is doing great. We're 41-32 now, and 3 games up on the Mariners. We're still doing really well, and we're top 10 in everything except for defense and power, which is just on the outside. This is looking good. We honestly could be a playoff team. Wow, Fletcher Sanchez is looking maybe like a steal if we get that scouting 100% accurate still. Which is good. Actually, I did need to change out Montañez, so let's take him out. Let's see if we could find anybody else here. Julio Marte. Let's go outside of the first round a bit, though, just to see if we could find somebody that's a good second round talent. Like Howard Springer. What a name. Okay, so we'll go another week only. And then we'll take a look at stats. And Pineda's been injured again 1 to 2 weeks. Damn. Same guys are getting injured multiple times, but at least it's only short term. Let me go to our lineup and adjust this. Lineup wise, let's go here. And just put Bill O'Donnell in all those spots for now. I don't want to take a look at player stats, so I'm trying to hide my eyes from actually looking at those player stats. So I'll put Bill O'Donnell in all those spots for now while Pineda returns. And then obviously Pineda will take back over those spots at some point. And wow, another solid week. 45-34. And we are pretty much a week away from the draft. So I think that is probably where we're going to stop the simulating. Maybe actually we have one more week, right? Yeah, I think we have one more week we could go. Yeah, let's go one more week. Let's go one more week on this. One more week. See how we do in it. Let's go no on that. Pineda is eligible to be reinstated. Let's activate him. And let's go to lineups and put him directly in where Bill O'Donnell was. Pineda's still a little bit injured, so it was a little bit of a risk doing that already and activating him, but oh well. Wow, Ray McMahon's playing outfield. Why is he playing outfield? Maybe the game automatically did that. Yeah, probably the game automatically did that because I thought I put Bill O'Donnell in that spot, but maybe I didn't. Yeah, I probably just made a mistake. Probably just made a mistake. Let's go Bill for Bill. There we go. Let's go to the end of this week, though. Let's go place on bench. He was already put in the lineup anyways. And last 2 games of the week. We win 1 and lose 1. So 49-36 to wrap up this episode. And we are up by 5 games on the Angels for the division lead. So At this rate, we are going to be a playoff team if we continue on this trajectory in the second half of the season. Okay guys, so for some reason my Elgato stopped recording at this point in time. Well, it actually froze, but let me show you guys the top prospects that we scouted out, and I'll show you guys the player stats, because I've already seen them now, which kind of sucks, but there is some very good stats that we could take away from this team at the moment. So let's show you guys what we have already scouted out. So our team rank has Howard Springer as the best pick, which is not a bad option. I'd say he's going to be probably a good overall. Also have a good ceiling. Might be a decent player to take at 4, but I'll just skim through this. If you guys see anybody that needs to be still scouted out a little bit more, let me know and I could scout them out further. But this is what our scouts are saying is going to be the top 100 of the draft. And then, yeah, I'll show you guys the player stats. It sucks that I've already seen them now, because like literally when I was recording through it, it was really fun going through them, because there is a lot of positives to take away from this season so far. And you guys are going to be very impressed, I think, with a couple players. Not so much impressed with a couple players as well, but a lot of players are doing really, really well. So much so that we might win a decent chunk of awards so far this season. So, if we have a good second half, that is. So, hopefully we have a good second half of the season as well. But this is basically what our scouts are saying is the top 100. You can scout out any of these guys a little bit further if you want. Hopefully we do find ourselves, though, some good prospects still, because we definitely need more good prospects just to make sure our team stays competitive for a long time and doesn't randomly fall off if we lose a guy to free agency. So we always want to have that depth in the system. And we are almost at the end of the list. There we go, almost to the end of it finally, and there we go. So there is the prospects for the draft. And let me show you guys our player stats up to this point. So you can see the first thing, obviously, Garth Howe is on pace to win the Cy Young this year. I did look at the award leaders, and he is league leader for that award, which is awesome to see. He's got a great win-loss ratio. He's got a great ERA, a great whip. I didn't actually take a look at the FIP, so let me take a look at the FIP just for a little bit of extra stats. That FIP is nasty. 2.68 is elite. Maybe even franchise. Probably franchise. That's really good numbers from him. I hope he doesn't drop off soon, because he has been in the MLB for 6 years already at this point. So, but yeah, he might win a Cy Young this year. He probably will at this rate. Gary McAllister, on the other hand, hasn't been the best pitcher. He's been probably one of the worst pitchers so far. But 7-7 with a 5.44 ERA. Not really sold on his stats. Sammy Gomez, on the other hand, might be on pace to win Rookie of the Year this year, because he's got great ERA, great whip. That win-loss ratio is also great. He was really good last year when he played in, I think it was in AAA. Yeah, it would have been in AAA. He was fantastic, so he got a shot this year in the MLB, and he has ran away with it. He's definitely one of our best pitchers in our rotation for sure. Probably should get moved up from a B potential almost to an A potential, my guess. Pablo Silva has been definitely the worst pitcher of our bunch. As you can see, 2-9, so he has got a bad win-loss ratio. The ERA is astronomically high, and the whip is almost at 2. So I am not sold on Pablo Silva. We could always send him back down, move Brian Morris over to reliever, or from reliever to starter. We could always do that, and then move maybe Guzman, who's a setup guy, over to a reliever instead, just because he hasn't been getting a lot of time. So we could always make some adjustments, but we're winning a lot of games too, so it's like I don't know if I want to make too much changes. Sparbore's been okay. He hasn't been fantastic by any means, but basically the best two players on the rotation have been Gomez and Howe for sure. Reliever-wise, Brian Morris has been pretty solid. Jack Birch has been okay, but a couple other relievers haven't been great, like Todd Goss. Not really sold on those stats at all, especially considering the whip is over 2. That's not good at all. Doug Grubel has been pretty solid as a reliever for sure. He doesn't really pitch that much innings, obviously, but still he's pretty good. And then our setup guys, Ken Robert has been really good. Luis Guzman's only pitched 3 innings, so that's why I want to maybe move him to a more of a relief role, just because that way he could actually pitch a bit more. And then Dennis Lake has been obviously really good, as he normally is, because he's been a fantastic closer for us for quite a long time. His stats are a little bit worse than last year, but the FIP is much better, so he has been pretty good. So there is our pitching stats. Let me show you guys our batting stats now. If we go to our lineup here, you can see Trevino has been kind of struggling a little bit this year. It's not the worst stat line I've ever seen, but obviously last year he had a much better year. So that's kind of a little bit weird, considering he just got paid. Pinheiro has also been struggling a bit this year. He's down to a 208 average, so I don't really like that. We might have to change up who's batting where in the lineup. Sixto has been really good as he normally is. Last year he batted a 330. This year he's already batting a 330. And he's also almost has the same amount of home runs as he did all of last year. So there is a chance he might end up having 40 plus home runs this year if he has a really good second half of the season as well. So there's that. Pip has been okay in terms of getting home runs and RBIs, but the average is a little bit low. Ozzy's been good as he normally is with a 294 average. He hasn't been getting more growth, which is kind of surprising. But yeah, Ozzy's still been one of our better players in this franchise mode for sure. Gary Steiner's also been a really underrated player. He's got a 280 average so far this year. And I am really glad we signed him for a 4x4. I think he's going to get very expensive, though, once that ends. And I kind of wish I would have extended him maybe a little bit longer because that contact hitting is really, really good. Steve Schneider, on the other hand, has also been really good this year. I think he's been more used as a bench option. I can't remember for sure, but he's batting over 300, which is really random. Ollie Gelman's also having a fantastic year, of course, considering he is a pending free agent this offseason, so he just wants to get paid. I just know it. But he has been having a great year batting average-wise, OPS-wise, home run and RBI-wise as well. RBI-wise is one of the best of his career, so we'll see how he finishes off the year. And then Bill Pineda has been okay in terms of his stat line. His average is a little bit low, but that's okay. Then we go to Carrillo. He's been getting at least some home runs off the bench, which is kind of nice, but average is low. McMahon's kind of struggling, which is eh. And then Bill O'Donnell has been okay off the bench. He's got a good average, I'd say, for a bench player. So there is our batting stats. And final things I wanted to show you guys for this episode is our team stats, because these are also very interesting. I'll also show you guys the award leaders right now, but team ranking wise, you can see we are actually a pretty good team. We are tied for 9th in batting average. We are also first in runs scored, so we've scored 7 more runs than the next closest team, which is the Rockies. We are number 5 in hits with over 800. We are 2nd in doubles, and we are also tied for 6th in triples, so we're very fast on the bases. The one thing we always struggle at offensively is home runs, and we are still not getting enough home runs. As you can see, we are 18th with 95. We are, though, first in RBIs with 444, which is almost 10 more than the Rockies. We're number 1 in stolen bases as well, and we are also 2nd in caught stealing, so we do not get caught stealing that much. We are number 1 in stolen base percentage with an 835, which is much better than the next closest team in the Diamondbacks. We also do draw a lot of walks, which is really good. That shows that we do have discipline at the plate, so that's nice to see. On base percentage, we are number 3. Plate appearances, we apparently had the most plate appearances, so I guess we just fight through pitchers quite a bit, it seems like. Do we grant into a lot of double plays? A decent amount, probably because we go through a lot of pitchers, but that's okay. We are tied for 3rd in putouts, so at least that defensive part is pretty decent. What else was it? ERA-wise, you can see we are number 3 in ERA, which is a big surprise to me, because obviously we have struggled with that in the past, but we are one of the best pitching teams right now in baseball. And we are tied for 1st in complete games with 5 already. Sammy Gomez has already pitched 5 complete games. And this is technically his first full season in the MLB, which is crazy. Garth has also pitched 1, and Gary has pitched 1. And we are number 1 in shutouts with 11 shutouts this season. So there is a lot of positives to take away from this year. And I think our team is definitely probably going to make the playoffs based on these stats. We could obviously have a very terrible second half. We could suffer some major injuries. Who knows? But I think we're going to be a playoff team this year at this rate. Because if we look at the standings right now in the entire AL, out of curiosity, the wildcard spot has 46 wins. We're only 5 games up technically on the Angels, so the Angels could easily claw back into this. But right now, we're in a good spot. We just got to keep on doing what we're doing right now, and we should be able to get into the playoffs, but obviously it could easily change within an instant. As you can see also with the award leaders right now, Sixto is potentially up there for an MVP, which is crazy. I don't know if he'll win it though, because Nolan Gorman's already got 33 home runs, so I don't think he's going to get it because of that. But you can see that Garth Howe is the unanimous candidate for the Cy Young right now. Hopefully he keeps that up. Nobody up there for the batting title or reliever of the year. Rookie of the year, actually, we do not have a guy up there because I guess they don't consider Sammy Gomez rookie of the year, potentially, because he played a little bit last year. So I'm kind of mad that I played him last year, but in our book, I would say he would be rookie of the year if he was technically a rookie this year. Sixto's also up there for the Hank Aaron again, which is nice. He's also up there for Gold Glove for catchers, not a surprise, but you can see we do have a lot of guys that could potentially win some hardware this year, which is always great to have. Obviously, the main hardware we want, though, is the World Series, but who knows if we're going to get that. I don't think we're going to get that this year. I could see us making the playoffs, but I definitely see there's a little bit of problems still in our lineup that hopefully could kind of address itself a bit in the second half. So there is that, and I think that's pretty much it, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just take a look at... I do like our runs scored versus runs allowed. That's really nice, actually. Considering last year we were allowing way too much runs, this year we're doing much better with it. I like that. Is there anything else I wanted to take a look at? I don't think so. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Vancouver Rain Draft to Glory franchise mode. So in next episode, we will simulate into the draft. We'll obviously draft hopefully some good players because we do need some more prospects just to make sure, like I said, that prospect pool is deep enough that if we are to lose somebody to free agency, that we don't actually suffer a huge blow, that we could easily just replace that type of player. So hopefully we have a good draft ahead as well and continue to build up either our pitching rotation or more infielders. Probably I'd lean towards more infielders since we have so many starting pitchers. But let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.